So for most of my students that take lessons from me, I found that many of them have already had some kind of introduction to music theory, but they don't really know how it applies to actual music, and oftentimes they have a pretty bare bones knowledge because most of it they just forget because they have no way of applying it. So today I just want to apply some introductory music theory to Bob Dylan's classic, Like a Rolling Stone. So first things first, if you haven't heard that song, stop this video, go listen to Like a Rolling Stone. It's off his album Highway 61 Revisited. Go listen to the whole album. It's amazing. It's Bob Dylan. It's a classic. Personal favorite of mine. Okay, enough about Bob Dylan. So let's talk about what everybody knows about music theory. It would be that the C major scale has no sharps or flats. So where do we go beyond that? Well, outside of playing all the white keys on the piano, or maybe learning the C major scale on the guitar, which if you learn it on guitar, that scale is exactly like every other major scale in any other key. So good on you for that. But anyway, the next place we go is we harmonize each note in the scale to a chord. And there's a method for how you do this, but I am not trying to cover that in this video, but I will cover chord construction in another video if you're interested. So we go from just the note C to the chord C major, just the note D to the chord D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, and B diminished. So these are the chords within the key of C major. You can play any of those chords at any time, and it's going to sound decent if you're a songwriter. A great place to get started writing songs is just to take a major key like this and just smash chords together and see how they sound. And if you like the way they sound, that works. Everything is going to sound pretty consonant and like it belongs. Because it does. And why does it belong? Well, I'm glad you asked. Because all the chords are diatonic, which is our vocabulary word for this video. Diatonic means using only notes from within the key. So what that means is each one of these chords uses notes from the C major scale. Only notes from the C major scale. So the C major chord, as far as the triad goes, is C, E, and G. D minor is D, F, A. E minor is E, G, B, etc., etc. So only notes from this scale are used to make all these different chords, which is kind of awesome. Okay, so that's what diatonic means. The next thing here is the number system. And the number system isn't exclusive to C major. It works in every key. If you want to play a song that you love, but maybe you can't sing it in that key that's written in, or maybe you're trying to communicate a chord progression to some musicians, but it's a little bit tedious to talk about every single detail of every chord, this is where the number system comes in. So for each note in the scale, we have an assigned number, and so instead of saying like a C, F, G chord progression, you could say this song uses a 1, 4, 5 chord progression. And now you can play that chord progression in any key you want, which is fantastic if you're a singer, or if you're a musician playing with a singer, for example. Or you're talking to another musician and you just need to quickly communicate some information about the chords. And a nice thing about the number system here is we're using mostly Roman numerals. So just like with letters next to the chords, if you see it lowercase, like this lowercase m, that means that that chord is minor. So if you see this 2, this Roman numeral 2, and it's just I lowercase, that means that that chord is minor. If you see the Roman numeral capitalized, that means it's major. And then we have this weird diminished chord thing over here. So diminished chords are notated with minor letters, or sorry, minor letters. They're lowercase letters, and then also this little degree symbol. So just a little circle next to it. And that's all you need to know about the number system for now. Okay, so how does all this apply to Like a Rolling Stone? I'm glad you asked. Like a Rolling Stone is entirely in C major. So every single chord that is in the song at any point is completely diatonic. So of all the chords you can use, it's only going to be one of these 7. Cool. So let's talk a little bit about the chords in the song. I've got my guitar off screen. I'm going to put that on and I'm going to play a little bit because I don't want my video to get taken down. I'm playing Bob Dylan's music. And we can talk a little bit. Okay, so the first part of the song is just the intro. It's C and F. Really, really consonant sounding, very nice, makes you feel good. So, like I said, it's a C chord followed by an F chord. Or, if we want to talk about it in terms of the number system, which we should, it's a 1-4 progression. A 1-4 progression is one of the most common progressions in music. So, I'm just going to write this down here at the bottom. Okay, so we've got our first common chord progression, which is the 1 chord to the 4 chord. Nice and happy and consonant. Awesome. So, what's the next part in the song? The first verse. First verse is amazing. So it goes like this. So what's great about that is, and hopefully you could tell, by its ascending quality, felt like it was getting higher and higher in pitch. We are just going straight up the scale. So the chords in this part of the verse are C, D minor, E minor, F, and then G, in that order. So just a great example of the harmonized C major scale there. After he does that a couple times, he goes into, this is kind of like the part of the verse where he starts building up. So it goes F, so you can tell right there that Bob is building suspense, right? It doesn't feel resolved. It feels like we're going someplace, but we're not at home yet. And that's because we haven't played the 1 chord. We are playing the 4 chord F and the 5 chord G. So it feels tense. It feels like we're going somewhere, but we don't know when this trip is going to end. So that's where that feeling of tension comes from. Now, the next part in the song is more like about their downfall, or like the things that they're going to have to get used to now that things are the way they are. And I think that's important to mention because the chords match the lyrics. So, if you think about the first half being that character's ascension, in life, it makes sense to have an ascending chord progression. Feels uplifting, feels good. That's how that character is probably feeling. And then we have this descending part from F to C, where it just goes F, E minor, D minor, C. And in that part of the song, basically, like, all the bad things are happening, the character's got nothing but bad choices, and they're kind of realizing that they're stuck. the descending chords are the character's downfall, basically. So when things are bad, the chords are going down, just like the character's life is going down the drain. Good match, Bob. Alright, so from there, we've got the chorus. And the chorus is probably the most common chord progression of all time. It is the 1-4-5. So I'm going to write that down. So our first common chord progression was the 1-4, and this is just adding one chord, the 1-4-5. And this is in everything from blues to pop to classical to jazz to basically any kind of music from any place in the world. It's just a really common way to express your ideas, I guess. So anyway, this is how it goes. So that is C, F, and G. It's a great practice for you as you're learning and building your music theory knowledge to take a song and analyze it in this way. So the steps that you would do that would be, first of all, what is the scale that the song is based out of? Most songs don't change keys unless you're into jazz, or actually, I mean, a lot of songwriters can do it too, but like pop songs, you know, most popular songs don't really change keys. So figure out the main scale from the song, and then from there, what are the chords within that scale? What are all the possible chords that the songwriter can use? And then from there, take the chords that are in the song and just write them out using the number system. Try and figure out how to change the key to a new key just as an exercise so that you become familiar with all the relationships with these chords and make sure that you know them not just based in one specific key. And then try and find the common chord progressions within that song. So this part should probably be pretty easy. The more often you do it, the more you're going to see chord progressions, and you'll just go, oh, I know that. That's a 1-4-5. I know exactly how to do that. And if you start recognizing things that quickly, you're going to start learning songs way more quickly. So that about does it. I hope you enjoyed this application of music theory, and yeah, good luck with your theory knowledge. I'll see you in the next video.